Michelle Williams and Mark Wahlberg both were in the movie All the Money in the World, directed by Ridley Scott. Now that movie originally starred Kevin Spacey as this rich guy who was paying a ransom or not paying a ransom. And then it was revealed that by Anthony Rapp that Kevin Spacey had done all this terrible stuff. So they got rid of Kevin Spacey and replaced him with another actor. As a result, they had to do a bunch of reshoots, and it was just revealed that for those reshoots, where they put Christopher Plummer in the movie, Michelle Williams got paid $85 per diem. Mark Wahlberg got paid $1.5 million. That is a disparity, some have pointed out, of $1,000 times. I can't even wrap my mind around. He got paid 1,000 times more for reshoots than she did. Thoughts, 5 words or less.
Smells fishy to WME, like the agency.
Missed the mark on that one.
Marky Mark missed the mark.
He got all the money in the world.
In the Wahlberg.
Which is the name.
His team is notoriously known. I remember hearing, I did an interview with Mark Wahlberg when I was at Reels, and I remember people just talking about his team and how they're just like crazy when it comes to anything he does. In addition to his personal team, publicists, etc., and his like assistants, and then WME or any agencies that he's with, his team at WME negotiated heavily, which is funny because WME also reps Michelle Williams. This also goes back to the Kat Sadler thing with Jason Kennedy and Kat are rep by WME. So it's like, the real villains here are WME.
Right, so WME is William Morris Endeavor. It's one of the 4 largest agencies in the world. I think it's the second behind CAA.
Talent agencies.
Talent agency. Yeah. So it's a talent agency and they're the ones who do your deal for you. And some people say that because they're all at the same agency, they should be exchanging information back and forth. As someone who worked in an agency, ideally, that's what happens. It does not happen. There is some fierce competition among agents, and especially because you see agents defect to other agencies all the time when whoever's gonna pay them more and bring their clients. So it's not like buddy back there. We're like, here's what I negotiated. In fact, it's oh, you negotiated that? You got $85 from Michelle Williams. I got $1.5 million, and then they literally bring 20s and just kind of throw them around.
And what I think is also interesting is, I can't remember what article I read this, it might have been from the Guardian or wherever, that they were talking about the sequence of events that sort of led to Mark Wahlberg and his team being able to big time the rest of the production, which was that a lot of the other cast members, Michelle Williams included, and the crew had signed on to do these reshoots. They knew that it was the right thing to do. And so Michelle Williams actually missed Thanksgiving with her daughter Matilda, flew to London to get these reshoots out of the way. And then when everyone was all the pieces were moving, they realized that Mark Wahlberg was still holding out and he was still negotiating. And I guess because of sort of the secrecy and the competition behind agency doors, his agents were like, oh, they already have everyone. We can kind of play ball now because they need Mark Wahlberg and they already have everyone else signed that's on their way for these reshoots. So I don't know if it's necessarily maybe Mark Wahlberg just wasn't informed with what his team was doing. It looks very bad to him, and a lot of his peers in the industry have called this out. Like I saw Judd Apatow had a tweet about it. I'm trying to think of
Jessica Chastain.
Jessica Chastain called out. It looks really bad. I hope that they are having a very serious come to Jesus moment, which I'm sure they all do at agencies because they're so religious and just altruistic in their motives.
Perception is everything, and I'm sure there's a split school of thought between whether this is a good thing or a bad thing at the agency. There's those who obviously, for reasons we're all pointing out, is this is a bad thing that we seem like money hungry sharks. But there's definitely people at agencies who are probably like, yeah, we are money hungry sharks and we will get our money for our clients no matter what.
But don't you think that, I think there's that mindset as well. I think there's also the mindset of like, this is so unfair, especially now with the Me Too Time's Up movement, this really plays poorly. But then I would think that agencies, one thing that I knew from my limited experience with agents is that they love to feel cool. And so being called out by so many cool actors, people in the biz, maybe that would resonate with them even more so than, unfortunately, the Time's Up #MeToo movement and pay inequity in the industry. I think that it probably is like, oh no, Jessica Chastain hates me, like.
Well, yeah, and then am I going to lose clients?
Right.
And the client, the cynical person says, the clients are going to say, that's terrible.
I would love for Mark Wahlberg to donate all 1.5 million to to whoever charity that supports these initiatives to make amends for this, because I don't think Mark Wahlberg's that great of an actor. I don't think
not alone.
I don't think that he is the type of actor to. I would not go rush to see a Mark Wahlberg movie.
But
He is
by the
the
way,
top paid-
yeah, exactly.
He's a top paid actor last year.
$68 million, Esther, yes?
Yeah, something ridiculous like
Right.
that. Like
AT&T
displaced
endorsement.
The Rock, by the way.
Yeah, he's definitely likable, but I also agree with you, Grace. It's sad that Michelle Williams, who all these people signed on out of an altruistic motivation.
I disagree that it's really altruistic there. I think this is a symptom of old Hollywood where men have always been, the top actor, the leading role, and then females were just kind of the sidekick that barely got any words, hence they were paid accordingly. So now Michelle Williams is just absolutely thankful to be part of this project, right? Whereas Mark Wahlberg, highest paid actor last year, he can kick this to the side and be like, you know what, I don't need this.
What?
That's a great point. I agree with you as well. But what I was saying is that I feel altruistic, meaning in Michelle Williams' defense, that she was wanting to do the right thing. She was coming from a good place. A lot of that crew was coming from a good place, and the crew's still getting paid as well because they have to pay the crew. But like she missed Thanksgiving with her daughter. She's sacrificed. I think that's what rubs me the wrong way. Is people make sacrifices for this industry, be it at the bottom. Be it if you're at a talent agency, be it if you're an extra, you make sacrifices of your time that you can't get back to do these things.
But this is why I think the studio should be at blame here, because if you're gonna go ahead, you wanna salvage this movie, you're gonna have to go reshoot it. You have to pay people. You can't just ask them to volunteer, right?
But they saw a problem. Yeah, it is definitely a cynicism test where you look at it and you say, either the studio said, we need to get rid of Kevin Spacey because of moral reasons. We can't reward him knowing what we know. And they had a month to do all this. A film takes years to produce. They had a month to do all this, and the true-hearted, pure human says, the optimist says, yes, they did it for great reasons. And everyone, it was so awesome that Ridley Scott was like, I want to give up I'm not getting paid. Michelle's like, I'm not gonna get paid for this. I wanna make this right. And the sad part, and the cynic says, well, they just didn't wanna lose money because if they can't release a friggin' Kevin Spacey movie now, if they did, no one would see it. So they're covering their own asses financially. $10 million is a small price to pay because at least you can recoup 40 by putting it out and having $40 million worth of people see it. So that, cynical or not, what is most glaringly obvious to me is that everyone else, all the actors and the director, they seem very obviously to have seen this as an opportunity to make right. And Mark Wahlberg's team, maybe Mark Wahlberg, saw this as an opportunity to make money.
Right.
And that's a problem.
It's kind of ironic because, as I understand, I haven't seen the movie, but isn't it about kidnapping and of a kid whose grandfather, it's the Getty kid, right? Yeah. Who's really, really wealthy and is like holding out even though he has all the money in the world.
Well, but all the money in the world, the studios have all the money in the world too. I always lose my shit when you hear about these like pop stars and these studios that have buckets and buckets of money that don't want to pay people. It's like, it's not even your money. What's $10 million in fees for talent in the grand scheme for Warner Brothers? That's like not even a drop in the bucket.
When I negotiate, I say it's your budget, it's not your money.
Right.
Like, you have this to spend, it's not yours.
By the way, the SAG-AFTRA is investigating this case, so I'm looking forward to see what comes out of it.
We'll see. A lot will be revealed in time.